So we have to be a bit more discerning when we look at the cash flow of a farming operation, particularly the cash flow from operating activities. Cash flow from operating activities are largely going to be driven by what the actual produce of the farm is. For example, both the monthly and annual cash flows of a farm that is producing vegetables like lettuce or tomatoes and cabbages throughout the entire year are going to differ from a fruit farmer who grows orange trees. Let's use these examples to illustrate the point. And let's start off with a tomato farmer. The operating cash flows for the growing of tomatoes will include cash disbursed for seeds, to pay labor, for pesticides, fertilizer, water, fuel, other inputs. And a tomato farmer growing one of the main varieties can expect to enjoy a harvest from the time of planting the seeds within 70 to 80 days. That effectively means that within 3 months, her tomato crop is able to generate cash from operating activities. So tomato farming may be more attractive for a farmer seeking to generate a return on the initial investment in seed, fertilizer, and labor relatively quickly. In addition, in many parts of the African continent, tomatoes can be grown throughout the entire year. They are perennial. There are no seasonal limitations. The downside, however, is that modern varieties of tomatoes tend to grow to their full size, flower, bear fruit, and then decline and die within one season. So a fresh batch of seeds must be planted to continue producing after the initial crop has been harvested and the bush or the plant is now in decline. So to create more stable cash flow over an extended period of time, tomato farmers will frequently plant these tomatoes in batches, which ripen and yield tomatoes at regular spaced out intervals. This ensures that the farmer enjoys a regular, ongoing produce, more stable cash flows, and the risk is reduced that the crop will not ripen all at once and create a glut in supply. That is a tomato farmer and how the cash flows would play out for her. An orange farmer is very, very different. In contrast, an orange farmer planting an orchard from scratch with new trees will have to wait at least 3 years up till the harvest can generate cash flows. And during that 3-year growth phase, the farmer will incur cash outflows. These are necessary because they need to nurse the orchard, apply fertilizer, the necessary pesticides, etc., etc. Orange trees are also seasonal, so they only yield fruit in one part of the year. So orange farming will only be viable for a farmer who's got sufficient financial resources to invest in a new orchard without generating cash for at least 3 years. This requirement will frequently exclude many farmers on the African continent because they require more immediate cash flows. So the profile of cash flows from operating activities are going to differ significantly between a tomato farmer and an orange farmer. In summary, the cash flow from operating activities on a farming operation will largely be defined by the produce of the farm. And different categories of farm produce will consume and produce cash flow from operating activities at different speeds and at different amounts.